Welcome to The World Today. I'm Waqas Majeed. Today we're talking about the unfortunate attack on a gathering of clerics in Kabul. 7 people have died in this suicide bombing targeting a gathering of clerics in Kabul. This happened on Monday. At least 7 people have died and 9 people are seriously injured according to the police reports. We'll be talking about that in detail. And our second topic is to do with the press conference that the DGISPR gave yesterday, and we'll talk about the important things that he spoke about vis-a-vis India as well as Afghanistan. Let's begin the conversation. Joining me for the discussion at the moment, we've got Shahid Kiyani Saab with us, an ex-ambassador. Thank you very much, sir, for being here. So let's begin the conversation. And the fact, sir, that recently we've seen positive overtures being made by both countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan, to improve our relationship and cooperate, especially on the infiltration that takes place of militants from either side of the border, and many other steps. Also, the APPAS was also initiated. But here we have an attack, sir, that has targeted clerics who were gathered there to try to find a solution to the Afghan quagmire, and it was a positive meeting in which they issued a fatwa against suicide bombings and urged peace talks to end the Afghan war. Now, why would such a gathering be a target, and who, in your opinion, sir, would be targeting them?
If you look at the pattern of these suicide bombings and killing of religious scholars and mosques and madrasas, there's a pattern to this whole madness. Nobody is as yet sure as to who are behind these things, because if you talk to the common man in any part of the world, they would be very reluctant to give what you call some sort of their own opinion as to why would anybody, for example, in Afghanistan, which is a majority Muslim country, or Pakistan, which is also has a very good majority of Muslims, why would any Muslim attack a mosque or religious scholars? There are some sinister, organizations behind these things. For example, the IS. I'm not going to talk about Taliban. The IS. They are known for attacking such institutions and religious scholars. They've been doing it. They've been attacking mosques because they have their own version of Islam, what Islam stands for. Look at what they did in Syria, in Iraq, and in other parts of the world. Even look at what IS have done in some parts of Africa. They have their own brand. For example, these scholars who have gathered there, who were virtually came to say that the suicide bombings are un-Islamic, which is a fact. So for them, this will be anathema to their own thinking. So, and other thing is show of power. They are, in my opinion, they are in competition with the Taliban, because one other important thing is both are competing because the government in Afghanistan is very, very weak. They have yet to show the trillions of dollars or billions of dollars with the United States and their allies have put in Afghanistan to strengthen this government. The writ of the state is not there. So you can expect any organization to come and kill at random. This is a show of power in Afghanistan.
Well, it's interesting that you say that it's a show of power, sir, but whoever was the perpetrator behind this attack did not come forward to claim responsibility for it. So if it is a show of power, then why are they not claiming? Because usually we see that when such attacks take place, there are claimants to that atrocity. In this particular case, sir, that is missing. Nobody has immediately claimed responsibility for the attack. Maybe subsequently somebody might, but up till now, nobody has.
I can just give you, those who are in power now or claim to be power in Afghanistan exactly know who these people are. I can bet with them. The writ of the state is not there, but they are quite sure as to who these people are, who are behind the killing of these clerics.
All right, sir. We've also been joined by Brigadier Ihsan Shah. Thank you, sir, for being here. Now, sir, we're talking about the 7 unfortunate casualties that took place in Afghanistan during a Loya Jirga meeting of over 2,000 clerics who had gathered in Afghanistan to see or chart a course forward to bring peace to Afghanistan. Unfortunately, 7 of those clerics died and a number of them are seriously injured. We're talking about that situation, sir, and we are also trying to figure out that although this gathering was there to propagate peace, it was attacked, and the fatwa that was issued by the clerics declaring that suicide attacks are haram in Islam and forbidden under Islamic law, still we see that this very gathering was targeted by a suicide bomber himself. What does that really say about the influence of the ulama or the clerics on the Muslim population, sir?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I think the dynamics of power in Afghanistan are changing. And in the previous program, if you remember, we had discussed that there are 21 terrorist organizations who are working inside Afghanistan. And the most powerful among them are the Afghan Taliban. Now, the Afghan Taliban are seeing a bleak situation because the talks are not being taken on their terms. The Americans are not coming to their terms also. And there is another factor which is evolving now in Afghanistan, that Daesh are being relocated in the Nangarhar province inside Afghanistan. So they are thinking that
Now, sir, I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but when you say that the Daesh are being relocated, who is doing the relocation, sir? Who is the person who is funding and supporting Daesh in Afghanistan?
This is what, because now this is a very tricky point which you have brought out. If you remember, the United States is involved in this. They are involved in the Syria also, who are supporting Daesh. And the Iranian ambassador had also informed of Pakistan that Americans are relocating Daesh inside Afghanistan. And there was a voice in United Nations by Russian ambassador that
yes, sir, this absolutely. We spoke about this. But, sir, I'm sorry, we have to interrupt you because there's a problem with the mic. We'll get that fixed.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Kiyani Sahab, what is your opinion, sir? Who do you think are the people that are supporting and funding elements such as Daesh in Afghanistan, when clearly the stated objective is to defeat this terrorist organization? That's what the US and NATO and everybody has given us their intentions clearly, that this is what we're there to do.
The thing is, these are, as Brigadier Sahab was saying, that these are allegations. Nobody has been able to substantiate and show that the Americans are behind this thing. But IS has been encroaching on the territories, encroaching on the powers of many countries. For example, mostly you'll see they go to countries where the rate of the state is not there.
But
like,
sir,
like
where
Syria
do they get the money and the resources?
Afghanistan.
That is the
Sorry?
question. The money and the resources that they have at their disposal, where is that coming from? Brigadier Sahab,
Yeah.
if you'd like to.
Yes, when Daesh was there in Syria and most part of Iraq also, they had occupied those areas like Mosul, which were minerally rich, and crude oil was there, and it was important. They were receiving money for that. And the second thing is,
So who was buying their oil, sir?
there are many interested quarters.
This is the real question then, isn't it? That if they are dealing or doing business with a declared terrorist, global terrorist organization, then how is that allowed to happen? Pakistan is being penalized, their name is being put in the grey list and the black list and whatnot. Then how can others be allowed to deal with Daesh?
I agree with you. But previously Taliban were against Iran. If you remember, there were incidents in the northern Afghanistan where 9 consulars were held by Taliban and they were killed later on. But now the things have changed, and you see that Americans are asking Iran that you cut off your links with Taliban. So the dynamics are changing. So somewhere, if you see in Iraq, the Americans, it is being alleged that they were supporting Daesh. And Muqtada al-Sadr, who is now coming in Iraq, he is opposed to Daesh and he is opposed to American both. And he is alleging that Americans are now funding Daesh inside Iraq. And Syria is also saying that Americans are funding Daesh inside Syria against Syrian government. And now there are allegations against America that they are relocating Daesh, because they say that Taliban is now, they are siding with the regional powers, and you might say that Iran, They are on the side of Iran also. They are siding with Russia also. They are no more threat to China. They are no more threat to Russia. They are no more threat to Iran. But now they are saying that if another element is brought inside Afghanistan, they will be their horses and they can get the things done by them. So number one. Number two, if you heard, there is an item, mineral talc, and the talc is being mostly produced in Nangarhar province, and you have heard that they have vacated those villages and those sites from the local population, and they have occupied this, and they are getting out the mineral talc from that area and selling. And if you have heard, they are extending their power to Helmand province also, and Helmand, it is the mostly poppy cultivated area, and the drug money, the drug money, it was there in this war on terror. The war on terror was financed against the Allied forces by the drug money, and all this drug money is being pumped inside this war on terror against the Allied powers, or those elements who are fighting against the Taliban and Daesh.
And that revelation does raise a lot of serious questions, which I will not ask you at this moment, sir, but I will like to share with you the statement that came out from one of the members of the Afghan Ulema Council, Mr. Ghufranullah Murad. He said that the ongoing war in Afghanistan is illegal. It has no root in Sharia. The statement said that it is illegal according to Islamic laws, and it does nothing but shed the blood of Muslims. We, the religious ulama, call on the Taliban to respond positively to the peace offer of the Afghan government in order to prevent further bloodshed in the country. And furthermore, the fatwa said that the killing of people by any means, such as bombs, suicide attacks, or violent acts, including robbery, kidnapping, are serious sins in Islam. I would like you to comment on this entire paragraph, sir, that Mr. Ghufranullah Murad has said. Why are his words, which we assume that have a lot of influence, the clerics have a lot of influence on the population, but yet it seems to have none in this particular case?
You know, since 9/11, there has been voices, sane voices within Pakistan of scholars who have, denounced, religious bigotry and, use of religion against minorities. And those, unfortunately, those religious scholars had to flee Pakistan. They are no more here. You can only see them on the television. I think they are brave people who, voiced their concern at what was happening in this country, a country which was, the Qaed's words were meant for everybody, majority, minority. Truth. What is true Islamic State is?
What the essence of Islam
The essence of Islam. The same thing has happened in Afghanistan. Afghanistan, if you look at prior to the 1979 invasion, Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, was in my country a country where Sikhs were also living in there. You look at the Buddhist heritage of Afghanistan, Bamiyan. No, that country was, in my opinion, a perfect state. Even though they were living in the tribal state, that's a different issue, but they were comfortable. But now, since Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, mostly I tell you, this is the most reason, and then aggravated by 9/11, things have gone wrong, totally wrong. There are now forces within Afghanistan. This is basically, people don't understand, it's a civil war going on since the Soviet exit from Afghanistan till today. I've been to Afghanistan and I've seen what is happening. Problem has been, when the Taliban were there, they disfranchised a minority. Now when these people, the Persian-speaking people have come in power, they have disfranchised the Taliban. That is the reason that this vacuum within Afghanistan, the power vacuum, is now being filled by such forces like IS. People say that the Americans are behind it. In my opinion, I do not have any proof, but I can say one thing. It suits the Americans if they have to stay in Afghanistan for a longer period. A unstable Afghanistan suits them. A stable Afghanistan, naturally speaking, doesn't suit them. It has been there for big powers. This big power game is not going to go. But it is not in the interest of Pakistan, not in the interest of any regional country here, that Afghanistan becomes unstable and remains unstable. It is unfortunate. But at the same time, again, we have been saying this, Brigadier Sahib will support me in this thing. the rate of the state in Afghanistan. Look at the government in Afghanistan. That government where you have a big joke, a chief executive, a candidate who loses the election becomes the chief executive, and there's a president. They are both the leaders are not on talking terms. So what do you expect? This vacuum to be filled by forces like IS and Taliban.
Very true, sir, and I hope that. So, if you'd like to add something.
Let me add to the ambassador words that the nature of Afghanistan is different. You see, previously, before 7/9, America, US invasion, the Soviet invasion inside Afghanistan, the psyche and the politics of Afghanistan were as such that when King was there, he used to ask the governor of the Walaya, can I come to your province? Because warlordism is so strong inside Afghanistan that nobody can do anything. If you have warlordism, if you have people behind you, if you have muscles behind you, you will decide. You will be there to be playing the game of ruling inside Afghanistan. This is number one. Number two is, after this Soviet invasion, there is a complete war economy which has grown up inside Afghanistan. And the complete generation, 40, 45 years have gone. The complete 2-3 generations have come inside who are fighting against each other. And they are thriving, they are prospering. And these people, peace is an anathema to them. Peace is not known to them. And they are happy. Some people are happy because they have seen this war throughout and throughout. This is number two. Number three, as the ambassador has already said, that this situation, instability inside Afghanistan, is more workable and more suitable to the players who wants to play inside Afghanistan and they want to come and be present for a longer term. But Pakistan is losing because stable Afghanistan is in much more stable Afghanistan is in the interest of Pakistan only. If I tell you that only one country should be chosen whom this peace in Afghanistan should be suitable, that is Pakistan. Pakistan needs stable Afghanistan for the region also, because we have Pashtun both sides, Pashtun that side, Pashtun this side, and somewhere Baluchis also. And I will tell you that if the tribes, the villages are decided among each other, there are relations with each other. If that side instability is there, this side the instability automatically will come in. And there is another porous border, 26 kilometers of porous borders is there. You cannot make a soldier stand on every inch of the country, on every inch of the. So people come across, people go there. You cannot. Last 2-3 days earlier, there were attacks, and they came from that side. These things are going on, and if Afghanistan is stable, Pakistan's interest will be served, because unstable Afghanistan is pinching the worst side of Pakistan will be that Afghanistan should be unstable.
So from what you've said, so it seems that as long as Afghanistan is the chessboard used for the great game, then there's not much else that we can hope for in the short or the long term as it stands. Very unfortunate, but that seems to be the true picture, sir. So let's move on to our second topic, which is equally important. That is the press conference that was given by the DGISPR Major General Asif Ghafoor yesterday, sir. In that, he spoke very candidly, especially about the India-Pakistan equation, sir. He mentioned that 1,881 incidents in 2017 left 52 people dead and 254 people injured. And just in 2018's first week of June, until that time, there were 1,500 violations on the line of control. Now, we saw that the DG military operations from both sides established a hotline contact. There were very promising statements, almost identical, issued from both sides. But unfortunately, people have continued to die on our side. And that is very unfortunate. Of course, maybe there have been casualties on their side as well, as Pakistan responded to their uncalled for, unprovoked firing. But that is the situation that we are in. Ambassador Saab, what's your opinion now? Why is it that the Indians and the Pakistanis cannot, or rather it's more that the Indians cannot understand the importance of having a peaceful neighborhood?
Last time when I was sitting here talking with Faisal and my other colleagues, I'm very happy to note rather a very matured approach by both Pakistan and Indian military leaders of maintaining the 2003 ceasefire on the LOC. And I was very happy. I have gone through the whole statement. I have yet to find out exactly what happened, what provoked the Indians to break this promise. This was a promise. You see, gentlemen, we are matured countries. We need to show. I do not know what happened. But it is most unfortunate. But at the same time, I will tell you, the Pakistan Army leadership has shown maximum restraint, believe it or not, because not only have soldiers died, but the civilians, continue to be the casualty in the crossfire. And they've shown maximum restraint. If you look at the DG ISPR's opening statement also, he says that we are ready to talk to India. So that shows the maturity on our part, that we are still ready to talk, even though this violation was very serious. But I tell you, a soldier is ready to die, but a civilian who lives on these, he's not ready. He doesn't carry any arms. It's most unfortunate. But you see, Pakistan and India both are nuclear armed states. If you continue to do this thing, was happening, then, sir, the Western countries who consider both Pakistan and India, I tell you, look at documents and books written, that we are considered, Pakistan and India, as immature, irresponsible nuclear states. How can we afford, I've just now talk about India, how can you, violate and, start killing people? You don't realize that Pakistan Army, which is the vanguard of your borders, it will sooner or later will have to respond. And if things get out of control, what is going to happen? This is most unfortunate as to what this is happening. We were very happy that the two DGMOs talked, and they had, as you said very rightly, identical press releases were there. But suddenly, twice it has happened after that.
Yes, sir, twice.
Twice.
An old man and a lady and her daughter were the latest victims. So it's very unfortunate.
So, sir, we need to, sir, find a modus vivendi. We have to find a common ground where we will have to talk to each other. And I was said last time that the new government's first agenda, whoever the Prime Minister is, would be, without waiting, I'm just saying, sir, this as a maturity, without waiting for invitation from India, we'll have to talk to the Indian Prime Minister, go there and talk to them and tell them that better sense should prevail within the Indian leadership, because this killing of civilians and killing of our soldiers, this have to come to an end, because this are sending a wrong signal, because the pressure on the Pakistan Army from the people and government would increase to respond. And once this thing responds and gets out of hand, as I said earlier, then, sir, the whole region will be engulfed.
Right, sir. I want to get Brigadier Saab's opinion on a matter. Sir, when we talk about Pakistan and India relations, and we always talk about the nuclear capability of both countries, Mr. Asif Ghafoor has said, and I quote, that the Indians have to realize and understand that where they want to go in the future, we are two nuclear powers and there is no space for war, but obviously Pakistan's desire should not be construed as a weakness. Now, sir, when we talk about India, Pakistan and the specter of war that is raised time and time again, there is a cold start doctrine which envisages that there can be a limited war between India and Pakistan, which is a conventional limited war. Do you think that is a realistic policy or a doctrine that they are pursuing, the Indians? Because I don't see that they've already raised the nuclear threshold once they engage in any kind of a conflict, sir. Would you agree with that?
I will tell you that after the nuclearization of South Asia, war between the two should be unknown to both the sides, because it is completely it is a complete destruction.
Yes, sir. It is called
you go-
MAD for no for
Yes,
mutually
yes.
assured destruction.
So you cannot
and
think
other reasons.
that you will engage one side and you will say because it takes one to start the war, but it takes two to end the war.
True, sir.
I will not finish the war on your terms. You can start it, but I will matter whether I would like to end it on your terms or on my terms.
True.
So that is not the matter. This is number one. Number two is that after the nuclearization, if the Indian are thinking that there is a cold start or hot start or this start or that start, there is no start. We have made them very clear that
Sir,
this is.
recently there have been very serious, very important exercises that the Indian
I'm coming
military
to that.
has been
I'm coming to
undertaking,
that.
including
I'm
the
coming
Air
to
Force.
that.
And
I'm coming to that.
please, sir.
We have made them very clear to them on strategic level also and on security in security terms also that this is the threshold. Whether you start a Cold War strategy or whether you start a conventional war all over, if you cross this red line, then there will be nuclear war. So can Pakistan afford to give them a space when your one side has already cut off? They have destroyed you, they have cut you into two. One side has gone East Pakistan into Bangladesh, and now the remaining of Pakistan, what is your stamina? What is your this width? Can you allow them to, because all your cantonments, Sialkot is a cantonment, it's a city, and next side there's a GT road, Lahore is a cantonment, then you see other Karachi, all these places and big cities are situated alongside the border. But India cannot do it. India, what is the aim of India? They want to encircle you and engage you for three things. Number one, they want to engage you when you are engaged on the western border, they want to keep you engaged on the eastern border also, because they want to divide your attention and to bring you under pressure that there are chances that you will be contacted, you will be able, you would likely, you will face two-front war. So they want to divide your attention on eastern border also and on western border also. They are engaging you on the line of control to demoralize your people, your civilians also, and they do not want their troops who are already engaged there, you should be able to detach them from the border. The third thing is their bleeding wound is Kashmir. They are held there, they are being bled there, and their 7 lakh troops cannot go anywhere. So what they are doing now, they want to do the same thing with you also, to keep your segment of troops engaged here also, and to keep your segment of force on the western border also. And the third thing which they are doing it in Balochistan. There are 7 consulates, they are pumping the money, they are funding the people there, and they are creating the liberation peoples of the liberation BLA, Balochistan Liberation Movement, the Haramdagh, the Baramdagh, the Harbayar, all of them are being fed there. So they want to keep your troops engaged there also. The fourth thing is they are creating these terrorist activities inside Pakistan, bomb blast here, bomb blast there. They are being trained there inside India and Afghanistan. So they want to keep some of your troops inside engaged also. And that's how to divide your forces into 4 or 5 segments, because Napoleon says how you achieve victory. It is not that you are a big power or you are a small power. The victory will go to the side who is able to produce more quantum of troops in a desired time. So Pakistan is much capable of doing that. They know it. So they want to deny that quality, that capability to Pakistan. And they want to show to the world that since Pakistan is sending these people inside Kashmir, because I had been commanding a battalion in Kashmir also, so they are raising the flag there that we are engaging you because people are crossing inside Kashmir. It is not. They are befooling the world. It is an intifada movement. It is a movement which is fighting for the human rights, for their plebiscite, for their right of self-determination. How long you can keep them quiet? Can you deny this natural freedom to these people who have sacrificed everything, their money, their land, their families, their women, their life, their brothers, their fathers, their mothers. Can you deny by these tactics to engage this side line of control how much area you will bomb and how many people you will kill? Kashmir one day will get independence.
Absolutely, sir. There's no doubt about that. But we're also talking about the policy that India is pursuing in the region vis-a-vis Pakistan-India relationship, sir. When we see that the DGMOs are establishing a hotline contact and are making some commitments, we, the citizens of Pakistan and India, would expect that such high-level, high-ranking officers would at least keep their word. Now, that is not being witnessed, unfortunately. What is the cause for that, sir?
Can I just
Please,
add to, you see, we, India and Pakistan both, we haven't learned from history. The Cold War started in 1945. Till 1962, the Soviet Union and United States, then Soviet Union and United States, lived in fear. Both were nuclear armed. But Cuban Missile Crisis was the watershed. Hotline was established. And then leaders from United States and Soviet Union started meeting at various places. Geneva, you have SALT I and SALT II and SALT III. Our watershed was Kargil, that limited war. We had expected that Pakistan Indian leaders would continue to meet, you see, to contain, as he said very rightly, that what is this nuclear armed, if God forbid it goes out of hand, there will be the destruction of both these states.
I think it would go beyond that, sir. It would be the destruction of the entire planet.
Entire planet. So I am surprised that both the leaders from both Pakistan and India, I'm being very honest, have not shown that maturity of countries who are nuclear armed. People will expect on both sides of the working boundary that we should be able to rise above these small things and show some sort of statesmanship, talk to each other, and try to, you see, contain this thing. Okay, you are not able to resolve these issues. I know there are very serious issues, as he's talked about Kashmir and others, and water. Water, you see the basic, that's why people don't understand why Kashmir, the jugular vein of Pakistan, because of that water issue. So we have the leadership. I do not know. Third generation has come and gone in both the sides of this region. We have yet to find out leaders who can rise above the trivialities and talk to each other and say that, look, we are nuclear armed. Let us try to, you see, talk to each other and try to contain those serious issues, and let us try to resolve these issues. You talk about, since the coming of Modi's government, Pakistan government on this side has tried its best to talk to each other, put some sense into it. But unfortunately, as Modi and his advisor, Mr. Doval, has said that will try to, you see, use the fault lines in Pakistan. And unfortunately, what has happened is that within Pakistan also, you have seen we do not have the desired domestic stability, in which the people and the government should be on one page as far as in trying to resolve the issues. And that is one reason that the Indians take advantage of. Let us hope that the coming elections will bring about that stability in which the people and the government will be on one page, and we should show the strength to our adversary and to our enemy that we can talk to you. But at the same time, I would say to you, sir, that some sense should prevail in India that this violation of these line of control or the working boundaries can be a very, very serious matter. And as the DGISPR has said, that we shouldn't take the test of our patience. There will be a limit to that.
Absolutely,
I
sir.
will just refer to, you asked me about the Cold War. If you allow me,
Please, sir.
I will say something on that also. In all the wars, if you see, India is a big country with a lot of resources and a lot of width and breadth also. In both the wars, mainly 65 and 71, and then the escalation during the escalation period also. The good luck of Pakistan is that, as I have said to you, that our main cities are there, they are cantonments. And from Lahore cantonment, we take only 1 hour on foot to reach the border and be there and fight the enemy. But it is not the case with India. In mobilization, they take 1 month. From Arunachal Pradesh, if they start taking their troops, it will take 1 month. And how long, how much money they will spend, they have gone through this exercise. So to cut that and to respond to that shortcoming, what they have done, they have already stationed pockets of troops, division and brigades alongside the border, like us, who should be able, they should be able to quickly send them to the border and make them stand. But here what they have done, and they are thinking, that these troops, before Pakistan can pump in, and because their strategy is to divide the troops of Pakistan into various segments, spread them, and do the same thing strategy which is there in India, widespread forces, that they take time to come to the border. So if Pakistan say bring their troops from the western border, they should be able to take some time. And in this time frame, their forces which are already there stationed behind the border, they should strike inside Pakistan and reach to the designated area, to the target which they have already been given. That is the cold start strategy.
Right.
But Pakistan has responded to that through various exercises, and we have gone through many exercises and the war strategies. We have come with a solid response for that.
So there is another aspect to the ongoing war between India and Pakistan, and that is the propaganda war. And unfortunately, sir, the way we perceive it, it seems that the Indians have a huge advantage over the Pakistanis in the propaganda war, because their narrative is more widely accepted than Pakistan's truth. So is there something that
Yes.
we can really think about in terms of countering the media and propaganda machinery that India has at its disposal, and can we counter it with something similar, or maybe a rapid force that can deal with that aspect, sir, because that's missing completely?
My colleague is the right person to dilate on that, but just before him, we won the Kargil war on the front. We lost it in media, because the channels, Pakistan at that time had only one TV, and we had not these channels of so many channels which we have now.
Well, it is the age of information.
It is the
sir.
age of information. And then in that war, the media war, India came so strongly that whatever we have got
Our
in
gains
the
were
field,
reversed.
whatever we had gone in the field, we lost it in media. This is number one. Number two, their foreign affair, their foreign service is so strong, because once you choose people to send them and to present the case of Kashmir to the international community or to the world, you as a political bribe, you choose the people to send them to various countries, give them a trip, an Elijah trip, and go here and there and come back and say, I have presented the case of Kashmir. The second, they don't do this. They choose the selected people, they select professional people, and they prepare them well. I have gone through their presentations, they prepare the case so well that a lost war is won when they present that case in front of the international community. They are capable to convince them. This is not the case in Pakistan.
Very unfortunate.
Rest I will leave it.
We don't really much have. We don't really have time left.
I just say, Brigadier Saab, I beg to differ with him as far as Kargil is concerned. Your own very senior army officers, very senior people, have differed on this issue.
Well, there's a new book out on the subject as well. I would recommend that people should read it. No, sir, it is by, I think, one of the journalists, a lady journalist, if I'm not wrong.
Barkada?
No, Pakistani. That book is
Never mind, sir.
It is from Kargil to Coup or something like this. Yeah. The thing is, well, that would require a very big seminar.
Yes, sir, we don't have
to
the
discuss.
time, sir.
But to be honest, I would just one liner. Our narrative, why it's not accepted and served abroad, I don't think it is any weakness of the foreign service people. We are professional people. On both sides of the border, we come through a competitive examination, and we are selected through a very difficult process. Problem is that when we start engaging abroad, I'm just giving you places where you need to engage, like London and United States, others do not hardly matter. We have never sent professional people. When we send parliamentary people, they just go and meet those ministers. You need to have professional professional journalists meeting the journalists there.
And academia, academic connections as well,
parliamentarians,
sir.
academia.
This is
and
a whole
meeting their counterparts and giving their own narration.
This is another subject, sir.
Yeah.
Another show needs to be
Yeah,
done
okay,
on what
okay.
needs to be done, but we don't have the time right now. But thank you so much for taking out the time and sharing your views with PTV World. Well, we are completely out of time, and as always, we like to say that do draw your own conclusions from what you've heard. But before we end the program, there is a issue which is quite, one should say, it's a lot of people are talking about it, and that is Khadija Siddiqui issue. She was attacked in broad daylight, and her attacker was convicted. And then recently, we've heard that his verdict that he was convicted for and sentenced to 7 years in prison has been overturned, and he has now been acquitted. We don't know what the real details are because it is a matter which is sub judice, but we would definitely like to comment on the fact that if there are loopholes in the law which allow convicted attackers or killers to be acquitted, then those laws really need to be reviewed, and we need to go back to the drawing board as far as that is concerned. We hope that Khadija Siddiqui gets justice, and we hope that the Chief Justice, if he sees our program, takes notice of this entire issue. On that note, it's goodbye.